Well, this is the Insights channel, Steve here. And yesterday I just was sent my copies of my latest book, Esdras Insights, and it's looking fantastic. Looking very professional, very well done indeed. And I'm just going to read you a little bit out of the third book in here. The third book is something I compiled from the kind of study books that I studied when I was young in the 70s. How I learnt about the truth, how I learnt about the Bible. And this is just really a condensation of that with my own comments put in. But I'll just read you a little bit. Here's chapter 1 from that book, which I have called 4,000 Years of Biblical History, from Creation to Christ. Alright, so it says here, the ministry of truth. You can't trust the history books. Well, we all know that now. Many who have gone down in history as heroes may really have been the villains of their day. And many of the so-called villains may really have been the heroes. Who knows? All depends on what the ministry of truth. Also, that's a reference to the book 1984 by George Orwell, Dystopian World. The victorious historians decide to dictate, or the ministry of truth. It all depends on which side is writing the history. So who are you going to believe? Which history book? The only thing you can trust is the Bible. And notice what this writer said all the way back then in the 70s. I only just noticed again recently. He said, the only thing you can trust is the Bible and the Apocryphal books, which were in the King James Version of the Bible until 1885. And that's what I've been saying for years. Because it's true. Editor. Apocryphal books which used to be, that's me, the editor, Apocryphal books which used to be in the King James Bible until 1885, the Apocryphal was in the King James Version of the Bible from 1611 to 1885, when it was removed for whatever reason, good or bad, as the case may be. Still in the Catholic and Orthodox Bibles. Before the King James Version, the Bible was only available in Latin, Greek and Hebrew, therefore not available to the public until 1611, when King James had it translated into English. Do you know that a couple was burned at the stake in 1601 in the UK for reading the Bible in English and not Latin? The general public were not able to read in Latin, only the scholars, of which there were very few. The Bible, the plan and planner. The historians of the Old Testament had preserved a record which has left us breathless. The Bible is more full of drama and romance than any book that I know of. So all kinds of stories, anything you want to find, including the story of creation. The Bible openly confesses there's a plan and a planner, a design and a designer, and that it is for the people, and that the ultimate goal is the good of the people and the abolition of all evil, and the evil leaders and the evil systems by God himself. Though Karl Marx claimed not to believe in God, he confessed to what he called the principle of history. He confessed there was a driving force behind history which showed there was a plan for man. But if you confess that, you must confess there's a designer behind the design and a planner behind the plan. And this driving force must then be an omnipotent power, a God behind history, who must have given a plan and a goal to history, and man is being driven to his ultimate goal, whether he likes it or not. Reprobate historians. History really proves the existence of God, God's laws of retribution, the rise and fall of empires because of either righteousness or wickedness. And this is one of the surest proofs there is of the existence of God and the rules, including fulfilled prophecy. So what do they have to do with history? They had to debunk history, get rid of it. I don't know whether you recall or not, but it hasn't been a long time since it was very popular to say that George Washington was a crook and Abraham Lincoln was some kind of reprobate, debunking all the historical heroic characters. And this is still a favourite occupation of the reprobate historians, to claim it ain't necessarily so. that what we were thought and heard of all our lives about what these characters really were like, they weren't really like that at all. No more heroes, no villains, nobody was ever good, everybody's bad. There weren't any good or heroic men. What a terrible doctrine to put out by the historians. This diabolical subtleness of the fiendish, devilish attacks on the proofs of the existence of God just makes me mad, makes me furious. Editor, we have seen, this is me of course, Steve, we have seen in the past 50 years that since this 4,000 years from creation to Christ class on biblical history was originally written, this same tendency of lies in science and actually in every field of so-called man's knowledge. The masses are conditioned to believe the narrative of the controllers, which are demonic. Now in 2023, those working under demonic powers, or be they so-called aliens, the politicians and world leaders, all mimicking the same mantra of the New World Order, that the truth is whatever we say is or else. They're arrogant. Why? Because they've all been paid to say what they say. It is now plain to see for those with half an eye open that the governments and their controlled media are lying all the time about most things. Why? Because they have no real truth, but openly push the satanist agenda of global control by the perverse, corrupt, and demonic elite. John 14:6, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Well, that was the introduction to the third book inside my new book, Esdras Insights. I encourage people to do get this book. I'll just read you what it says on the writing on the back page. It says here, Esdras Insights contains the apocryphal books of 1st Esdras and 2nd Esdras, which were in the King James Version of the Bible till 1885. Why were they taken out? Read on and find out why. 1st Esdras is a historical book which shows that the visions and prophecies given to Ezra in 2nd Esdras were all fulfilled, as God rescued Israel from her enemies during the 5th century BC. Esdras Insights also contains 4,000 years from creation to Christ history. Esdras Insights has many Bible verses as cross-references as well as insightful comments. The apocryphal book of 2nd Esdras talks about the bride of Christ and also the call of the bride. As in one of my other books, ENOCH Insights, Esdras Insights mentions the earth is hollow, as stated by the apocryphal book of 2nd Esdras in 5 different chapters. It also contains or mentions the coming Messiah and states in prophecy very accurately that he would come in 400 years from the time of Ezra the prophet, who was the one who wrote 2nd Esdras. This prophecy of 400 years until Christ turned out to be exactly correct. Amazingly, this book explains what happened to the 10 missing tribes of Israel back in around 730 BC. This book of 2nd Esdras also talks about salvation in Zion. It amazingly predicted the rise of the Roman Empire 400 years before it happened. It also talks about God the Father and God the Son. At the same time, it talks about both of them. It talks about the Son of God and the coming wrath of God, as well as Babylon the Great, as is also mentioned in Revelation 17:18. There are many appendices to all 3 books contained in Esdras Insights. These appendices are full, or chock full, of very interesting information, and this book proves that the earth is very young earth, around 6,000 years old, as does state the Bible also. So that's my new book, Esdras Insights. So I'd like to encourage people to get this book. It's about 350 pages long. You can get that from Amazon, or you can get it from me. If you want to get this book from me, you can get it at Stephen with a PH .strut, STRUTT, at btinternet.com. That's my email. Order it from me. And you can also go on my website where you can always find information about the books, and that's www.outofthebottomlesspit.com. So, thanks for listening everybody. Have a great day.